Come for the game, stay for the commentary.
Ain't nothing but a Chieftain, baby.
This is Kobold Lair Chieftain's Throneroom, commonly referred to as CT, a 5-player dungeon. To get in, you need a character at least level 30 with a gear score of 1200 or more. Because of special circumstances in the second boss fight, I recommend certain blessings to be used for some classes. Crusaders should go in using either Crescent Moon or Storm Chaser. Berserkers are probably best served using Blind Executioner or Crescent Moon. Important is having a leap ability. After fighting your way through a couple of rooms of kobolds, you'll end up at this bridge, where you encounter a guard captain. When he hits half health, he'll trigger the explosives nearby and make a run for it across the bridge, dropping explosives along the way. They don't hurt much, but are inconvenient, so you'll likely want to either chase directly after him before they detonate, or wait for them to finish exploding before you follow. What comes next is one more fight with some kobold grunts, and when you've beaten those, the doors to the first boss open. When Snitch flaps his wings to fly straight up and hover for a moment, he is about to slam onto the ground, triggering a hail of boulders from above. This is the move he typically starts the fight with. You can see where those are about to hit the ground by watching for shadows. Avoiding all of Snitch's boulder attacks earns you completion of the trial, It's Raining Rocks. Sometimes when he hovers, he does a frontward wind attack instead, so be ready for either. Watch out for his fire breath. If you can avoid it, don't stand directly in front of him, as the initial breath attack hurts like hell, and much like the breath of the Wyvern field bosses in Zenkala, his breath scorches the ground in front of him. Standing on the scorched ground hits you with a nasty damage over time effect, so even after the initial breath is over, watch your step. The longer the fight goes on, the more difficult it becomes, because more ground becomes scorched every time he uses his breath attack. If you can, aim him at the wall. Also, try to avoid his right side, as his primary melee attack is a tail swipe from right to front. When he raises just his left wing, he's about to walk forward with a series of wing punch attacks. These are potentially lethal, so get out of the way as quickly as you can. When he lifts off the ground and pulls his head back, he is about to charge forward while flying. Once again, it's best not to stand in front of him. He only does this when targeting someone farther away, so the more ranged DPS you have in your party, the more you're going to see this move. He will most likely follow up with another breath attack as soon as he lands. At 75, 50, and 25% health, Snitch will roar and encase himself in stone skin. This makes him harder to damage. While in this state, he will repeatedly do flying charge attacks. See those barrels of explosives all around the room? Put one of those between you and Snitch. That way, when Snitch charges you, he will hit the explosive, lose his stone skin, and become stunned for a time. Optionally, you may want to avoid the barrels the third time he uses stone skin, because defeating him while stone skin is active earns you the trial the hard way. While in stone skin state, Snitch's breath attack becomes ice instead of fire. The lower his health gets, the more likely Snitch is to do an untelegraphed roar attack that stuns everyone in the room, prompting a QuickTime event so you can start moving again. Try especially hard not to stand on any scorched ground. You do not want to get stunned there. And be ready to dodge right away because he always follows that stun attack up with Flame Breath. Rinse, repeat, Wyvern down. Right after leaving Snitch, you'll jump down next to the Soul Pyre to trigger this cutscene, which is unnecessarily long and introduces no one important. Think of this golem like a kind of mini-boss. Very mini. The trick to beating him is to hit him while his shield is down. In order to disable his shield, you must detonate one of the barrels of explosives next to him. Don't blow those at the same time, alternate them. Detonate the one on the left, then right before he gets back up again, detonate the one on the right. This way you can keep him on the ground and shieldless while you repeatedly stab him in the crotch. Melee DPS should be careful not to stand next to a barrel when it's about to explode. Next is what I like to call the Asshat Gauntlet. Aside from a few kobolds, this next bridge has several barrels of explosives on it. This is where the ranger in your party becomes the next mini-boss, because rangers and mages especially seem to really enjoy waiting for other members of their party to walk by one to shoot the barrel, detonating it and potentially sending someone over the edge. The trick here is to either detonate the barrels remotely yourself, or wait for someone else to go first. Which brings us to Boss 2, a kobold in goggles and a red speedo named Kaboom, often referred to as Bomberman. Kaboom does not become aggressive until you attack him. He has several standard melee attacks with his hammer, most of which are tolerable, but there are a few you'll want to watch out for, because a big part of this boss fight is that it happens on a platform from which you could fall or be pushed. When Kaboom does a 360, he's winding up for a big swipe attack with a knockback effect, so avoid that if you want to stay in the fight. He also does a big wind-up one-handed overhand strike that may not knock you away but will knock you to the ground. The one to really watch out for is his stomp attack. Kaboom tilts his head back and shouts a few times, then leaps straight up into the air, spins around, and comes down hard. This attack will knock everyone standing near him away. It's an almost guaranteed way to get knocked out of the fight. If you do get knocked from the platform, you will res at the last Soul Pyre. If you're a Crusader, Berserker, or Mage, you can get back into the fight. Rangers and Priests have to wait outside. This is why I recommended a blessing with a leap attack. To get back onto the platform, walk carefully onto the lip of this pillar here, and inch your way to the side facing the boss. Jump onto the higher lip. The important thing here is turning not just the camera, so get a target lock on Kaboom to turn fully around. Break target lock, and then use a leap attack to get back onto the platform. Mages can use Blink Strike to achieve the same effect. Blink Strike mages, not just Blink, that's important. Very likely this mechanic was not intended by the devs, and we worry they'll eventually fix this, so here's my opinion and my plea on that. This return mechanic, bug or not, has become a standard for all players running this dungeon. It's as much a part of the fight as avoiding the hammer or standing in sticky is. Removing it will only upset everyone. If you have to do anything, put in an actual return mechanic that all classes can use to get back in if they fall off, like a slanted jump pad or something. Do the right thing here. Aside from his melee attack, Kaboom also randomly places explosive barrels. You may have noticed the platform is made up of a grid of squares. This is where Kaboom gets the nickname Bomberman. The barrels, when they explode, affect all cells on the X and Z axis. You'll see those cells light up red. They will blink right before they explode, so don't be afraid to stand on those until they do that. Avoiding all barrel explosions for the entire fight earns you the trial Barrels of Fun. Kaboom will also randomly place a sticky bomb on one member of your party. It is best to get away from whoever has the sticky bomb, and the person affected should get to one of the corners and wait for it to explode. If you want to try for it, Having your entire party get hit at once by the same sticky bomb earns you the trial Living Bomb. When the sticky bomb explodes, it leaves a sticky glob in that area. For the most part, you'll want to avoid those. Every second spent on such a glob increases a poison and slowing effect by 1 stack. Get enough stacks and you will become stunned for a time. The sticky areas do have their usefulness. When Kaboom runs to the middle of the platform and starts inflating a giant bomb-shaped balloon, on the sticky glob is where you want to be, because when that balloon explodes, it will knock everyone not securely in the sticky goo off of the platform. Try to choose the newest glob to stand on. You don't want to risk a glob expiring underneath you just as the balloon goes off. You'll also want to watch out for random chunks of dynamite that Kaboom throws around the place every so often. They don't hurt much, but they will knock you into the air and make you vulnerable to other attacks. This is Kaboom in a nutshell. Rinse and repeat. After this bridge, which has a ton of kobolds on it, you'll enter the chamber of Dirkrook and his wyvern mount. This boss behaves a lot like other wyvern bosses you may know, like the Zinkala field bosses or Snitch. The main differences stem from the kobold that is riving the wyvern this time. The first thing you should know about this fight is that there are 3 statues spread around the room, each a replica of a kobold boss from this or previous dungeons. There are Ramses and Clue from Infernal Kitchen, and Kaboom from CT. Just like Snitch, Dirkrook's wyvern goes into stone skin mode at 75, 50, and 25% health, and will then charge randomly at someone in the party. To break the stone skin effect, you have to get Dirkrook to charge into one of these statues. This will cause the statue to come to life and behave just like the boss it is built after. When that happens, break away from Dirkrook and put all DPS on the statue to bring it down fast. You'll notice the statues have colored magical restraints. The preferred order in which to break the statues is green, then red, then blue. Try to fight Dirkrook near whatever statue you want to break next, so you don't have to run across the room when he goes stony. When the wyvern stands up on its hind legs, get away from in front of it, because it's about to do a very painful wind attack. He also does the same super ouchy walking attack that Snitch does. Avoid the wyvern's stone breath. It doesn't affect the ground like most wyvern breath attacks do, but it will petrify you and force you into a quick-time event to break out. His flying charge attack drops a string of dynamite in its wake. His fire breath does scorch the ground. As it was with Snitch, don't stand in that. This boss's primary melee attacks are the same tail swipe you saw on Snitch and a bite attack. Avoiding the bite attack for the entire fight earns you the trial, Not Even a Nibble. There is a trial you get for defeating Dirkrook without defeating any of his statues. On Xbox at least, at the making of this video, that trial is bugged and you get it no matter what, so don't go out of your way. Not much else to say about this one, stay on your toes. Congratulations, you can beat CT. If this was helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, and above all, share this video with people you think would enjoy or benefit from it. Check the video description for important links. Minion out.